When love becomes betrayal. Once, I believed that love was a pure and beautiful thing. I thought it was something unbreakable, something that could stand the test of time. But I learned that sometimes, love isn't always what we expect it to be. Sometimes, love transforms into something dark, something hurtful. I'm not sure when it happened, but there was a time when love for me became betrayal. It all began so innocently. I met her at a small coffee shop, a place I visited every morning before work. She had the kind of smile that lit up the room, the kind of warmth that made you feel like you were the most important person in the world. I remember how our first conversation felt effortless, like we had known each other for years, even though we had just met. I thought it was destiny. She had that same belief in the magic of love, and we connected over stories of our dreams, our hopes, our childhoods. At first, it was everything I ever wanted. Her laugh was my favorite sound, her presence my safe place. Every day we spent together felt like a blessing, like I was finally where I was supposed to be. We shared so much, from silly jokes to deep conversations about life. We grew together, and I couldn't imagine a future without her in it. But as the days passed, something changed. It was subtle at first, just little things. A missed call here, a delayed response there. I brushed it off, thinking it was nothing. But the cracks in our perfect world began to widen. I remember the first time I felt it, when she didn't show up to our favorite spot. I waited for hours, hoping she'd walk through the door, but she didn't. I called her, but she didn't answer. When she finally called me back, she had an excuse. I got caught up with work, she said. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to worry you. I believed her because I wanted to. I trusted her, just like I had always done. But as time went on, I noticed more changes. The late-night calls stopped, and the texts became less frequent. She began spending more time with her friends, and I found myself alone more often than not. I didn't understand. What had happened to the girl who couldn't wait to see me? The one who always had time for us, no matter how busy life got. I tried to ignore the growing sense of unease in my heart, but it became harder and harder. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. My friends noticed it too. They saw how I was changing, how I was becoming distant, how I was always looking at my phone, waiting for a message that never came. They would tell me, "You deserve better," but I didn't want to hear it. I wanted to believe in the love we had. I wanted to believe that she still cared. One night, I decided to confront her. I couldn't live with the constant uncertainty anymore. We met at the park, a place where we used to walk for hours, talking about everything and nothing. I looked into her eyes, hoping to see the spark that once lit up my world. But all I saw was distance. She seemed different, colder somehow. "Why have you been avoiding me?" I asked, my voice shaking. "What's going on, really?" She hesitated for a moment, her eyes shifting nervously. Then she took a deep breath and said something that would change my life forever. I don't know how to say this, but I've met someone else, she confessed. her voice barely above a whisper. My heart stopped. For a moment, the world around me disappeared. The only sound I could hear was the blood rushing through my ears. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. This wasn't happening. Not to me. Not after everything we had been through. I took a step back, my chest tightening as if the air itself had turned thick. "What do you mean, someone else?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper, trembling with disbelief. I didn't mean for it to happen," she said, her eyes filled with guilt. "I never wanted to hurt you, but I've been seeing someone. It just happened. I'm sorry. I never meant for you to find out like this." Her words felt like a slap in the face. I couldn't breathe. How could she? How could she do this to me? After everything we shared? After all the promises, all the plans? I had given her my heart, trusted her with my deepest fears and dreams, and this is what I got in return? I don't remember what happened after that. The world felt like it was spinning, and all I could hear was the sound of my own heart breaking. I wanted to scream, to shout, to tell her how much she had hurt me, but all I could do was stand there, numb and empty. I left that night without saying another word. I couldn't face her, couldn't look at her without feeling like my soul had been ripped apart. I spent the next few days in a haze, going through the motions, but feeling like a stranger to myself. I kept replaying that moment over and over in my mind, trying to make sense of it, trying to understand why she had done it. Was it something I had done wrong? Was I not enough for her? But the truth was, it didn't matter anymore. What mattered was that the person I had loved so deeply had betrayed me. She had taken my heart, crushed it, and walked away without a second thought. The love I thought was unbreakable had become a lie. In the days that followed, I couldn't escape the pain. It felt like every memory we had shared was now tainted, like everything we had was nothing but a cruel joke. I would drive past the coffee shop where we first met, and the memories would come rushing back, each one more painful than the last. The laughter, the smiles, the plans for the future, they all felt so empty now. What was the point of it all? I tried to move on. I tried to fill the emptiness with distractions, with work, with friends, but nothing seemed to help. The betrayal weighed heavily on me, a constant reminder that love wasn't always the beautiful thing I thought it was. It wasn't always pure. Sometimes it could be selfish, deceitful, and cold. Weeks turned into months, and slowly I began to heal. The pain didn't go away completely, but it became more manageable. I started to rebuild myself, piece by piece. I learned to trust again, but not as blindly as I once had. I learned that love wasn't something to hold on to so tightly that it suffocates you. It was something to cherish, something to protect, but not something that should define who you are. And through it all, I realized something important, that when love becomes betrayal, it doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you're unworthy of love. It means that you have the strength to heal, to move forward, and to find a love that is real. The pain may never fully go away, but it becomes part of your story, a chapter that reminds you that you are capable of rising above it all. So here I am, standing strong again. I won't forget what happened, but I won't let it define me either. I've learned that love can be beautiful, but it can also be painful. But even in the pain, I know I will find my way back to the love I deserve. Because sometimes the greatest lessons come from the hardest experiences. And when love becomes betrayal, it's not the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter, one where you find yourself again, stronger than ever.